Alright, it's Barry, and today on Great I've got my top 6 fantastic seeds that I'm going to be sowing in June. The weather's really picking up now, and here in the UK it's been absolutely boiling, or at least that's what we would consider to be boiling. It's in the mid to high 20s. We had a terrible start this year, but the sun is back with a vengeance and it's shaping up to be a great start to summer. It's looking like there's going to be a mix of sun and cloud with the odd rainy day mixed in this month, which is perfect for growing in the garden. Just don't forget to water your plants. There's loads of really great flowers and vegetables to start this month, and today I've got my top 6 seeds for sowing in June, which will make the absolute most out of the warm weather and get a supercharged head start in the first couple of weeks. As always, I'll make sure that you can check out all of these seeds in the description, just in case you fancy growing some of them for yourself. Spring onions are an easy to grow vegetable with loads of different uses, and it's best to start sowing them with just a couple of seeds at a time every week to keep a regular supply growing throughout the summer and autumn. Sow your spring onions thinly, around 1 centimetre deep, in rows 10 centimetres apart for loads and loads of them in a couple of months' time. You can also try a bunching variety like Ishikura, which are my favourites to grow. You just need to sow around 7 seeds at a time in a small pot or tub, and it's as easy as just watering them and leaving them to grow. They don't need thinning out, and you can just harvest them in a bunch when you're ready, just like the ones you'd see in the shops. Here's the first lot that I started this year, and I've literally used a normal seed tray and put a couple of seeds in each cell. They take a bit longer to grow this way just because of the competition for nutrients, but they've grown absolutely fine, and I think I'll probably take a couple of these cubes and pot them up, which should be enough to encourage them to grow to full size, ready for harvest. I'll probably do 2 of those a week, which will give me a range of different growth stages just to extend the harvesting period. Next up for me this month is sweet corn, which is also called maize or just corn depending on where you live. I started off most of my corn around 2 weeks ago when I filmed my full guide to growing corn, which I'll leave a link for in the description. Here's one of those seedlings now 2 weeks later, and they're looking absolutely great. The only problem is that only 2 of my golden bantam seeds have germinated out of the 12 that I planted, so I definitely think that they were a duff pack of seeds or something. Making up for that though, all 10 of the Fiesta seeds that I planted have germinated, and they all look amazing, so it's definitely the seeds and not me, which is always reassuring to know that I'm not being stupid and doing something wrong. I did go to the shop yesterday and I picked up a fresh pack of incredible F1 corn seeds, which have worked for me and they've grown fine this year, like the ones that I planted out a couple of weeks ago when I made the guide video, and I'm sure that I've got some left somewhere, but I couldn't find them, so I went with the golden bantam seeds that I had in my seed box, but they were obviously a load of rubbish, so I've got the new ones now and I'm going to get them planted in. Just hopefully they'll catch up in time. If you're just starting corn off now, it would be best to get it in early in the month to get the most from the summer weather, and they should take around a week before you see them growing, but they might be germinating quickly in around 4 days while it's a bit warmer. You can also sow them in pots to start them off, or you could just direct sow them straight into the ground. Next up is pumpkins, which are amazingly easy to grow, and once they're planted in the ground they'll really just get on with growing with minimal work. Pumpkins grow best when they're started off earlier indoors, but they also do just fine sowing them straight into the ground from this month onwards. I haven't planted my pumpkins out into the ground yet, mainly just because I haven't decided where I'm going to put them yet, but I'll be getting those in the next week or 2. To start your pumpkins off indoors, sow your seeds in medium-sized pots now because it is quite warm, and you should get them in as early as possible to give them more growing time ready for summer. Pumpkin seeds are long and flat, and you want to sow them on the side 1 centimetre deep and keep them warm at around 20 degrees C, which isn't too difficult at this time of year. I grew Atlantic Giant and Jack Be Little varieties last year and they were fantastic, so this year I'm going to try something a bit different, and I've gone for Big Max, Jack-o'-lantern, and for an unusual one I've gone with Casper, which hopefully will grow white fruit instead of orange. With larger fast growing plants like pumpkins, I prefer to sow them into individual pots from the start with a single seed in each pot, and I find that that minimises any root disturbance as they do start to grow. Just remember to keep your pumpkins warm and they'll probably germinate in around 7 days, and if you'd like to grow your own pumpkins this year, I'll leave a link in the description to my full guide from last year where I set up the pumpkin patch and I planted the bigger pumpkin plants into the ground, and that was all here where the polytunnel is now, so that's why I need to find a new place for them to grow this year. Next up is my favourite flower variety to grow, and that is sunflowers, and although most sunflower varieties have yellow flowers, sunflowers can also have amazing deep red, orange or white flowers with loads of different colour combinations and patterns in between. Annual sunflowers bloom from summer into autumn, and depending on the variety, they can take 11 to 18 weeks to flower from when you sow the seeds. So it's a really good idea to do sowings every couple of weeks to keep a constant supply of flowers going right throughout the summer into the late summer months. Sunflowers are really easy to grow from seed, and they can also grow to heights of up to 2 meters tall. To grow your own sunflowers, all that you need is a sunny sheltered spot and some really nice soil. It's important to protect the young plants from slugs and snails, and make sure to water your sunflowers frequently, as they do have large leaves which gives loads of surface area for losing water on a hot day. You can also give them a weekly feed with a regular all-purpose fertiliser, which will give them an extra nitrogen boost for extra tall stems. As your sunflowers grow taller, you'll need to stake them or fix them to a nearby support to stop them falling over in the wind. This year I'm growing Red Sun, Claret F1, Russian Giants and Vanilla Ice varieties, and I actually did a handy guide showing you how I like to grow my sunflower seeds a couple of weeks ago, and all of them are doing great except the Claret F1 seeds, which none of those germinated. And again, I think I've been sold too old or dodgy seeds, because those are the only ones that didn't grow out of all the varieties that I've sown, and I think I'll put a couple more in and see what they do. And if they don't germinate, I'll just give up with them and not bother again. I did grow them last year and they did look really nice though, so I really would like them to germinate, so we'll see how they get on. Main crop carrots are a great one to sow this month, and it's really tempting to get all your carrots in early, but they generally do better outdoors when you sow them in June for a late summer harvest. Your carrots need an open place to grow with loads of sun, and they like well-drained soil as well. If your soil's stony or shallow or really heavy like clay-filled soil, your carrots can end up stumpy or forked, so to get around that you could try some smaller globe-shaped carrots, and those are ideal for shallower soil, and they're good for growing in containers as well. Sow your carrot seeds as thinly as you possibly can, around 1 centimetre deep, with 15 to 30 centimetres between your rows. Once your seedlings start to grow, it's best to then thin your carrot plants so that there's around 7 centimetres between each plant. Carrots are drought resistant too, so they don't need as much watering as other crops due to the longer tap roots, but it's always a good idea to give them a good watering when there's a long dry spell, or especially in hot conditions. The bigger threat to carrots is fast growing weeds, as they can crowd out carrots and outcompete them for space and resources, so these are a crop that you really need to pay particular attention to and keep on top of that weeding. It's better to keep carrots netted as much as possible to keep carrot flies away, which will totally destroy your crop, and this is especially the case when you're weeding or thinning out your seedlings, as damaged carrot foliage releases a smell that attracts carrot flies to come and lay their eggs. And finally, we've got Coleus plants, which are one of my favourite fancy foliage plants to grow, and it's the perfect weather for starting those off now. Coleus plants are related to mint, and they're ornamentally grown all around the world, and in some countries they're also called painted nettle plants because they look just like colourful nettles. Whatever you call them, they are best known for the weird velvet textured soft leaves that have amazing combinations of red, burgundy, yellow, light green, pink, brown and bronzes in all sorts of different patterns. Coleus are a fantastic addition to flower beds, and they add extra colour to an otherwise green foliage, and they can also make excellent houseplants as well. They can grow really quite big if you let them, and they look great in conservatories and on porches as well. I've got a couple of thousand Coleus seeds at home, so I'll be starting mine off in the next week or so, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what colours I end up with. Well, that's it for today. Hopefully you've got some extra ideas for some great plants to start growing this month. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and let me know which seeds you're going to be sowing this month in the comments section, and I'll see you next time.